guys, and welcome back to another video. So today I thought I would just film kind of a fun, like chill Q&A style video. I know I did one of these recently, but that was like a personal Q&A, so kind of like questions about me and my like life and things like that. But I wanted to do one more specifically on basically like solving your home decor problems, which is kind of like a silly way to put it because I'm not really going to be like solving your problems, but like answering your home decor questions. If you have any questions for me specifically about my style, or oh, like you have a question about what should I do with this space, X, Y, and Z. So I put it up on my Instagram. So I put a little like question box on my Instagram, and I just asked if you guys had any questions about home decor for your house, or how to thrift things, or just general questions surrounding home decor, and kind of wanted to ask me and I guess get my opinion on. So I'm going to be answering some of those questions today. I got a lot of questions, so I may end up doing like a part 1 and a part 2 to this, but I'm looking at them now. I've got them pulled up on my iPad, so I think I'm just gonna go ahead and start reading some of these off. Okay, so the first question is statement walls for bedrooms, wallpaper tips, and how to add color in mainly white rooms. So I think my take on wallpaper currently, I love wallpaper in general. I would say if you're gonna do wallpaper, do your whole room. I think that the statement wall is really cool, especially if you're not specifically like ready to commit to doing your whole room. But personally, I just feel like do the whole thing. Do your whole room in wallpaper. That makes so much more of a statement. It really just makes the whole room pop and feel so cozy and feel just fully completed and connected. I love when people just go for it and do the entire room in wallpaper. So I think if you're thinking of doing wallpaper, I know that's more expensive, but you can start with a small room like a bathroom and just kind of test the waters and see if that's what you like. I have a fully wallpapered bathroom in my house, and I literally love it so much. I would wallpaper my entire house, every room if I could. Eventually, when we have a nursery, I want to like fully wallpaper that room as well. I just love the look of that, and I think it makes such a cool statement. So I would say if you're thinking of wallpaper, go for it and just do the whole thing. But if you are committed to just doing one wall, or that's all you have the time or money for, whatever, I think that's great too. I would then go for something that's not too much of a contrast from the rest of the wall colors in the room. So if you have a white room, I would maybe do like a white or lighter background wallpaper that has like a pattern or some sort of like textile design on it, versus doing like a white room with a navy wallpaper and dark flowers. I just feel like it makes it feel a little closed off. How to add color to a mainly white room. So this room, as you can see, is painted fully white. I love a white room just as much as I love a colorful room. I think that both of them can be equally just as amazing. I think if you're gonna add color to a mainly white room, I think a lot of times when we think of adding color, we kind of stick to small pieces of decor, and we think of adding like books and small kind of like knickknacks, which is great. But I would encourage you to kind of think about using big pieces of decor. If you have an all white room, use a really patterned, colorful rug. Use a fully patterned couch. Use some colorful patterned chairs, a velvet sofa that's like a bright green or something. Don't be afraid to bring color into the room with your large pieces of decor, because I think that that can be really cool. And it can be scary sometimes to buy furniture that's not white, because you might think, oh, is it not going to go if I move or, change house or decide to do something different eventually. But I just feel like colorful furniture is so fun and so cool. and can make a huge statement and an impact in a room. So I would encourage you to go for colorful decor in your larger pieces and in your rugs and your lampshades, and not just the smaller knickknacks. So I got a question that was kind of about small living room hacks. So Eric and I have lived in a bunch of different places together, and most of the places that we've lived have been really small and have not had a lot of space. So we've had to really work with a small space to kind of figure out how to maximize it, because we have a lot of animals, we have a lot of family, we have a lot of people over. So if you have a small living space, I think the first thing to kind of do with living spaces in general is to think about the comfort of it and the functionality of it in the sense of how many people does it sit. So if you're someone that has a lot of guests over, you have a lot of people over, think about how to maximize your seating in a way that's also functional for you. So maybe instead of a wooden coffee table, you have 2 ottomans. They can be separated and you can take the stuff off them and use those as seating. So try and count up the amount of seating that you can fit in the room. And it doesn't have to be huge pieces of furniture. You can have 2 small ottomans. You can have a smaller couch and smaller chairs. Just think about maximizing the seating and how many things can be sat on and used for seating. You can also do like floor pillows. When Eric and I lived in a really small apartment, we had big, comfortable, round floor pillows that we would bring out, and people would sit on those. So that's kind of a fun way to maximize seating in a room like that. I think just because your space is small, you don't have to kind of compromise on comfort or design. Still decorate, still have fun with it, still bring in the things that make you feel comfy and at home and cozy, and don't think that because it's a small space you have to make it feel bigger by taking everything out of it. I would say fill it with what you want and give it personality. I also think that especially in living rooms, and this can go for kitchens too, buy a really big mirror. If you can thrift one, that's awesome. You can also find cheaper ones other ways, but I would definitely recommend using a super large mirror and putting that just in a corner of your room or along a wall of your room. You can even put furniture in front of it, and just use it as not only a piece of decor, but a way to really expand your room, and it's going to make everything feel so much bigger and open. And a floor mirror, particularly one that's tall, will kind of make the ceiling feel taller. So it'll make you feel like the space of the room is taller and bigger and wider, which will help the whole room feel bigger and better. So I had a question, a little bit, actually a lot of questions about certain things thrifted. I had a question about where I've thrifted my white dining room chairs, where I've thrifted my mirrors, where I've thrifted my curtains, and all of that is just stuff that I've accumulated thrifting over the years, from various places, mostly from Goodwill, the Restore. If you have a Habitat for Humanity Restore or rescue mission in your town, I would highly recommend checking that out. And then the other huge one for me is Facebook Marketplace. I find so many things on Facebook Marketplace. So really, really spend time looking through there. There's new stuff every day. I would highly recommend that for your home decor pieces, especially larger home decor pieces. I find almost all of my big pieces of furniture on Facebook Marketplace. So that's where I find that stuff. I will say though, with thrifting your furniture, just like with thrifting clothes, the biggest part, and this is difficult because it takes time, but is going a lot. Like looking on Facebook Marketplace every day or every other day, going to the thrift store multiple times a week. That's how you're going to find the best stuff. And I know that sucks because it's like, who has time for that? You know, a lot of people don't, and that's definitely a luxury to be able to go so often. But the more often you can go, the better things you'll find, and the more often you'll find good things, and that's just the reality of it. So if you're looking to fill a space, I would highly recommend looking on Facebook Marketplace and then just going to your local thrift store. Like if you can even run in for 5 minutes, it doesn't usually take that long to go through the larger item sections, just kind of like running through. If I were going to go to the thrift store and I was looking for home decor and I had a really short amount of time, I would quickly run around and look through their large furniture items, and then I would browse the art section, and then I would kind of look through the small home decor items, but just really quickly, like thinking specifically about what I want, keeping my eye out for like textures and materials and patterns that I like, and that would be the quickest way for me to browse through if I only had a certain amount of time. So I had a few questions about paint colors and how do I pick my paint colors, and how do I like decide on what to go with. I am typically a pretty impulsive person when it comes to paint colors. I like to just pick something out and go with it. But I do think that creating, and this is so basic, but I think creating a mood board and pinning tons and tons of pictures of rooms with the color that you want, and really getting an idea of, is this a space that I could live in? Is this a space that I want? Is this what I would feel comfortable surrounding myself? And I'm all about the vibe of the room and how it makes me feel. So I would just think about that, like, if I wake up every morning in a green bedroom, like, how is that gonna make me feel? And just like really think about it. And then I would just go and look for some colors that you like at the store. And I would get samples and bring them home and test them out, because I found that more often than not, the color is almost always more saturated than you imagined when you paint it on your wall versus when you're looking at it on the paint chip. It often looks different when you paint it on your wall. And so I would suggest testing it out and seeing if you really like it. And then after you've painted your room, especially if you've painted it a funky color, this is kind of like I painted my fireplace a really bright, bold blue recently. And I had to give myself a good 3 days till I felt totally happy with it. I think give yourself time to feel comfortable with the change that you've made. It's rare that you're going to make a big change to your house or a room and walk in and feel perfect about it immediately. You need to let it marinate for at least a couple days before you make any decisions like, I need to paint it back, or I need to get rid of this furniture, or whatever. You have to live with it. And more often than not, you're going to love it once you've lived with it for a little bit, but you have to let it sit. So I force myself when I make a new like big design decision to let it sit, let it marinate, don't make any changes, don't freak out, give it 3 days, and then I'll see if I like it. And I've never changed anything. So I think you have to give yourself time to let it sink in. I had a question that was, is it better to do neutral walls and colorful decor, or colorful walls and neutral decor? And I think that's really just personal preference. Personally, I like to do both. In some of my rooms, I have super colorful decor and neutral walls, or I have colorful walls and more neutral decor. My dining room is painted green, which is a really fun, colorful color. And a lot of the design elements that I have in there are natural wood, white, kind of more crisp. You can obviously do both, right? You can do colorful and colorful, neutral, neutral. But I like the mixture for sure. And I tend to like colorful and colorful. However, another example is this room that I'm in right now. I have all of my clothing in here, and my clothing is very colorful. I have like full racks of dresses and shirts and things that are all different colors. And so I really wanted to showcase that by painting the walls white. And because you do want to give your eyes a place to rest, I think to some extent, it's nice to, it kind of gives you a calming effect if your eyes have a place to kind of breathe and rest in the room. And that was like this blank space on the walls. Even though I put art up, it allows for you to not feel overwhelmed when you're looking at the room. Eric is in the kitchen cooking. You can hear the pots and pans. So I've done both, and I think that you can do that. Personally, I would say, I can't choose because I like them both, and I think it's just up for your personal preference. But if you are worried, I would go with, I think the easiest step to kind of dip your toe into that is neutral walls and colorful decor, like large pieces of colorful decor. But I'm always a huge fan of just painting your walls a fun color, wallpapering a crazy color. So I would say neither one is better than the other. It's just your personal preference. Okay, so I had a question that was about how can I make a family room feel small and cozy but bright at the same time? And this is a great question because I feel like I oftentimes am looking for that vibe in my house. Like I want it to feel really cozy, I want it to feel comfy, but I also don't want it to feel suffocating. I want it to feel bright, I want it to feel like there's space. So I mean, I don't think that the coziest option is usually all white decor. I think it feels cozy if you have something colorful, you have good textures. I love textures. I love a nice big rug. I think that adds such comfy like elements. But keeping it bright and airy, I think if you want to paint it white, put some mirrors, good lighting. I think lighting is maybe one of the most important things when you're trying to make a room feel cozy. Overhead lighting is just not where it's at all the time if you want to feel cozy. I would say use lots of lamps, floor lamps, table lamps, so that you have different kind of pools of light in different areas of your room, and that just makes it feel so cozy. And lots of mirrors is awesome too. I think using a tall mirror to, extend the height of the ceiling and make it feel really big is a great way to make it feel open, but then having different little nooks and areas makes each little area feel cozy. So you can have this big open room that feels very bright and airy, but then you have one little nook with a reading chair and a little table and a pillow and a rug, and that feels super cozy. And then you have another area. So kind of focusing on creating little areas and little vignettes within the room so that the room itself feels big and bright and airy, but then you have these cozy little spots within the room. I think that's a really fun way to go too. I had this question I really liked, basically asking how do you change your decor for the seasons in like a simple, easy way that it doesn't break the bank and isn't, changing a whole bunch of things out, and not like just putting in a bunch of kind of more like kitschy decor. So what I would say for changing decor for the seasons is think about, if you want to do it in like a subtle way, think about colors and textures and like textiles. So for spring, or actually we'll do autumn because autumn is my favorite season. So fall, the colors of fall, the colors that we think of, right? We think of deep oranges and golds and browns and reds. So think about using those in your decor in general. So for example, if I were decorating my house, kind of changing it from summer to fall, and I wanted to give just a cozier vibe, but I don't want to like put pumpkins all over my room necessarily or put like a scarecrow up. I want to make it just feel fall-ish. I would probably put a plaid blanket on the couch that has maybe some like muted tones of browns and greens and oranges. I would maybe swap out some pillows. I have a lot of linen pillows out right now. I would swap some of those out with maybe some brown velvet pillows or a rusty colored velvet pillow. I would think about changing out your flowers and if you do like floral arrangements or floral decor. A fun thing to do for the fall is to put like leaves, like huge big branches with colorful leaves on them. Just kind of look to nature, like emulate what the world is doing outside. Like look out your window and pull inspiration from that. And you literally can just kind of bring the outside inside by doing that. And then also thinking about the other textiles, if you're doing a tablescape, when I think of fall, I think of a beautiful plaid or a beautiful like a black and white check or like a darker floral print or something like that. So you can do a tablescape with maybe like a darker floral print tablecloth and gold candlesticks and things like that. Versus in the springtime right now, I just did a tablescape and I used a white and blue checked tablecloth with pink candles and gold candlesticks and fresh blossoms from outside just in my yard. So those are things that you can have forever. You can always keep a tablecloth around. You can always have blankets. I love using blankets. You can always pull things from outside and just kind of look to nature and color schemes and bring those colors into your house in a way that it's not screaming in your face. It's very subtle, but it still feels seasonal, and it makes you feel like your house is refreshed with each season. I love the feeling of my house being refreshed with each season, not in like a holiday sense, but a seasonal way. I had a few questions on if I ever refinish my furniture, and I have not really refinished anything. I'm much more of I like stuff to be sanded down and refinished wood-wise than painting over the wood. I, a while back, did a few projects, but it's been a really long time. I would love to do some refinishing of my own. I just really don't have the time right now, but that's something I would totally love to do eventually down the line. And I also got a lot of questions about thrifting for home decor in general, which I kind of already touched on, but how I pick out home decor that I've thrifted and what draws me to certain pieces. And I would say in general, like I said before, you want to go a lot. And it's also helpful to, and this is super helpful to me because I can definitely tend to be a collector and a hoarder and an overbuyer. So if you're going thrifting for home decor, some people might not have this problem. I have this problem. I need to think really specifically about what do I need and do I have somewhere that I can actually put this? And a lot of times I will not follow my own rules and I'll buy it anyways. But specifically with a large piece of furniture, you have to be really thinking about, is there a space that I need this in my room? And on the other hand, if you are thrifting for a particular space in your room, I would take a picture of that space. And then when you go thrifting, you can kind of look at the picture and imagine that piece of furniture in that space. But in general, I kind of just go with what I like and what feels good and what kind of makes me feel a certain way in the moment. Usually a lot of times it's antiques that are aged, that have a lot of character, things that are falling apart. I love anything that just feels like it really has a story to tell and feels historical in some sense. And a lot of times with those vintage and antique items, you don't need to worry about quality because it is high quality. If you're looking at it and it looks to be in good shape, it almost certainly is. Things made back then were just a lot sturdier and a lot better made in general. So you're always going to find a really nice high quality item, which is not always the same with clothing. With clothing, I always tend to really specifically look at materials and stuff like that, which you can do. You can look for specific woods that you like or a specific type of china or stoneware or X, Y, and Z, but typically the antique homewares are really sturdy and really well made. So you don't have to be too concerned about that. I mean, obviously you can check for things like if you think it might have moths or some sort of bugs. I would always be a little wary of that, but generally you're not going to run into that problem. But yeah, I would just say if you're thrifting for a specific place in your house, take a picture of it and kind of visualize what you would want, and then that'll help you when you thrift think about, would this piece fit in that spot? I think that is the end of the video for today. I don't want to get too long-winded and have like way too many questions, but there are more and I want to answer everybody's questions, so maybe I'll do another one of these videos if you guys like it. But thank you guys so much for being here in general. If you like this video and you like videos about home decor and thrifting and all that fun stuff, I would love for you to subscribe and hang out with me more and like this video. But yeah, I'm just glad you guys are here and I hope to see you guys in the next one. Bye!